What's up, guys? Welcome back to Taking the Field with Stevie Mack, and on this episode, I am pleased to be joined by first-year head coach of Detroit Mercy Women's Lacrosse, Alexa Matta. Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes of your time.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to start out with this because I thought it was kind of interesting sort of how you started your tenure with Detroit Mercy. It seems like I could be a little bit wrong in some of the timing of this, so you might have to help me out here, but it seemed like you were brought in over the summer to be an assistant coach, and then Coach Dugan leaves to take the job over at Eastern Michigan. Talk to her on the podcast as well to do a preseason episode, and that's how you were then elevated into the head coaching position. So just talk about how that start of your tenure really went for you.
Yeah, that was for sure a crazy experience. It all happened very quickly. But I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And I think that this was a clear example of that. Definitely a whirlwind of emotions. There's been times that I'm kind of like, it's all happening so fast, but I think that that's kind of what college athletics has prepared me for life. So I'm just excited about the opportunity. And I just feel it was kind of all meant to be. So it's just all falling into place at this point.
You've been with this team now for the fall at least, and we just talked off the air. You've been obviously here for the first few weeks of spring practice. You mentioned off air having some issues with players health wise in these first couple weeks. I'm certainly dealing with that currently as well. But just give a sense of what you've seen from this team in just the short time that you've been with them.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we're struggling with some sickness around the team, so we're just trying to get everybody healthy. But I think the best way for me to describe this team is they're hungry. They made it all the way to the MAC championship last year, and they got a little taste to see how it felt. So I think we have a great crew that we can really continue on where we ended the season last year, and I think that that's been the biggest goal as for us as a team is just continuing to build where they ended last season, not having to go and backtrack or anything due to a new coach, a new staff, 17 freshmen. No, we just want to continue building where season ended for them last year, which was such a bitter for them.
So, looking at the offense specifically, with this team going into this season, they lose their best offensive player from last year, and Kat Kopja was one of the best in the MAC a season ago. How does this offense replace somebody like that, or who have you seen really step up from the offensive side of things?
So Kat is a phenomenal player. She's going to be hard for someone to fill those shoes. But I've been very impressed and happy with one of our freshmen that has come in, Jada Jensen from Minnesota. She is just such a shifty player. She's so vocal as a freshman, talking to her teammates about what we need to be seeing, second cuts. And it's just so awesome to have that vocal leadership from a freshman. Libby Kuckler has been really stepping up for us as well down low. So we love to return her. And then also two freshmen on the offensive end that we've been really impressed with are Gabby Vasquez from Grand Rapids and then Allie Katniss from Novi, Michigan. So some two Michigan girls, which we love to see, but definitely some big shoes to fill, but we really have just been continuing to show that we don't want just one person to put all our goals in. We need to have multiple options. So that's kind of what we've been kind of operating on our offensive end.
And now taking a look at the defensive side of things, Titans were pretty good, I'd say, defensively last year, especially back half of the season as well. On the defensive side, they returned players like Sophie Davis, who I believe is one of the captains this year. Meredith Lavelle in the goal is another huge one. Just talk about what you've seen from the defense so far.
Luckily, majority of our defense, like you said, is older, which is awesome. And we have had two amazing freshmen that I think have been just true sponges learning from our older seniors and older defensive side of the ball people. Maddie Clamo from Heartland, Michigan, and then also Ava Bandy from Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, Ava has suffered a knee injury, so she had to redshirt this season already. So we're unfortunate about that. But Clamo has been lights out for us, and it's really awesome to see two freshmen really adding to the success that our defensive side of the ball had last year.
talking with Titans head coach Alexa Matta on taking the field with Stevie Mac. Couple questions left for you here, Coach. Uh, in the midfield, I feel like that's probably, I mean, you'd obviously have more to say about it than I would, but I think probably one of the maybe the deeper positions on this team. You have players like Maddie Cam, Leah Bodner, Melissa Jarvis that I feel can all really play both ways on the team as I think they've done in years past. So what do you think about this midfield for this Titans team going into 2025?
I think our midfield is a huge strength for us, but I also think that all teams see that. They see that those are probably our strongest players. So that's where we have been really trying to get Jada, Libby, Allie, Gabby, all these other ones to really step up. So when Leah gets shut down, when Maddie gets shut down, when Alyssa gets shut down, we have other options that makes them back off of that. So it's been very exciting to see the example that they set on the team. They grind every single day at practice, and it really makes it for our freshmen to have to elevate. But hands down, there are grinders on the team. We love to see it, but we're really trying to make it that they have lots of options with other people on the team this year.
And then last question for you, Coach. I'm a big believer in lacrosse in the state of Michigan and the Midwest, and believe that it should get more attention than I think that it does. And that's something that I talked with the men's coach, Charlie Hayes, earlier today about. Talked to last year's head coach, actually, Maddie Dugan, now with Eastern Michigan, talked to her about it as well. So I'd love to get your thoughts on what is your thoughts on the state of lacrosse in Michigan and the Midwest?
This is a great question. It has grown so much in the past couple years, which is amazing. But we are still so far behind, I feel, men's, like boys lacrosse in Michigan. And I'm sure Charlie feels they're behind other states as well. So I think the hardest thing for the girls' side of the ball is, one, our rules keep changing. So I think it's really hard for people to continue to keep that interest when they're not really sure what's happening. But then I think it's really tough in the sense of around here, if you are one of the top people, you're probably going away to school. And the likelihood that you're going to move back to the Midwest is slim. So I think that the people that are growing the sport around here, there's just less people to pick from. And that's where I think I've gotten really lucky for my staff this year. Nakia McCardle, she played 2 years at Oregon, 2 years at Clemson. And then Lauren Maserati, she was played 4 years at VCU. So having two former D1 players, it's really nice to bring in their outlook and stuff on how we can continue to elevate our program. And that's why we do a lot of camps and clinics to help around the area to continue to get schools involved, just because Detroit has no high schools that really have lacrosse. So we do clinics and stuff just to continue to kind of keep it growing. But unfortunately, I do feel we're a little behind, and I'm hoping that we can just continue to grow in the pace that we've been.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I didn't say to the other two early today that I'll say here is up till this spring, I had spent the last 4 years as a youth lacrosse coach here in Southeast Michigan myself. So to go to some of these events in the area and to see all the different teams and these programs that show up to these events has just been absolutely phenomenal these last 4 years. I don't have plans this spring to do any kind of coaching or anything. Obviously, I'll be doing a lot of the broadcasting stuff this spring, but definitely would like to get back into coaching sometime in the near future. But yeah, it's been really great to see, I think, over the last few years, just a lot of the different teams just from around the state and around the Midwest that we've been able to go up against.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely like to say again, thank you for taking some time with me on this episode, Coach.
Thanks so much for having me.